Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Before starting the video, special thanks to John Juan and Wayne Hemans. John Juan thanks you for $4.99. Wayne Hemans thanks to for 2CA. Deleta Hana thank you for $5NZ. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star episode number 311 based on novel. So let's start. The green-armored Undying gazed at Luo Feng and burst into laughter. Sector Lord killing an emperor? That's not something that can be accomplished by you humans. You don't think Blade River Emperor is a sector lord? Luo Feng asked. The demon race, the worm race, and the automaton race seem convinced. Convinced enough to post rewards for killing Blade River Emperor. And the demon race even offered an invaluable treasure. Who knows, the Undying of the Tar Bay clan said, gazing at Luo Feng. Maybe that's because you humans are so good at deceiving others. That sounds about right. You humans are one of the peak races, you are talented at just about everything. You don't need to explain anything. We'll be convinced if you can give out the scent of a sector lord, after which we'll apologize to you and show you our admiration. They all stared at Luo Feng, waiting for the scent of a sector lord. Thousand Rain, I'll go back first. Luo Feng turned around and told Thousand Rain beside him. I bet other powerful ones will arrive in no time, Thousand Rain said, nodding. Human? Human, two of the three creatures from the Tar Bay clan screamed. You three, said Luo Feng. He turned to them and sneered. You all stupid. I didn't deny, nor confirm that I am Blade River Emperor. I don't care if you believe it or not. Luo Feng teleported himself and vanished. You little. But before they could finish cursing at him, Luo Feng was long gone. Thousand Rain laughed, smirked, and disappeared. They all gnashed their teeth in anger. How dare this Thousand Rain Emperor be disrespectful? The green-armored one looked at his companions and said, this Blade River Emperor is indeed careful. He didn't give away anything or have any intention of revealing his sector lord scent. It seems that we didn't succeed in confirming his identity. Let's go back to report to our seniors. The three powerful creatures of the Tar Bay clan flew away. Luo Feng teleported to the portal of the Land of Treasure, where some barbarians talking to each other immediately noticed him. It's the human. Look, it's Blade River Emperor. Is the Blade River Emperor? The barbarians flew to him instantly, one yelling, wait! Blade River Emperor, while another shouted, human. However, Luo Feng pretended that he didn't hear anything and stepped into the portal. The barbarians could only sigh and shake their heads. Luo Feng teleported back to his palace instantly after getting back to Bohinia Island. I didn't expect to rouse suspicions quite so soon, thought Luo Feng as he went to the second floor of a pavilion. There were futons on the ground with empty space surrounding them. Here, he could see the pools and gardens directly. He sat down with his legs crossed and looked down. On second thought, it's not that startling, he murmured. It's almost impossible for two hidden peerless talents to rise from the same race, not to mention both following the path of Beast God. Even I wouldn't buy it, let alone the barbarians. Luo Feng waved his hand, and the mini-quantum computer appeared on his hands. It was the receiver to connect to the world of glory. I'll enter this world of glory and see how it's different from the virtual universe of my race, Luo Feng thought. He sensed the receiver through his mind and connected to the world of glory shortly. In the world of glory, a figure appeared at the periphery of a square holding a black book. Luo Feng smiled, holding the book. Interesting. The virtual universe uses virtual assistants to function, while this one uses this book. Luo Feng opened the book. There was only one word on the first page, written in the human language, name. The following pages were blank. Please enter a username for the world of glory, Luo Feng heard a voice say when he turned to the first page. Name? Luo Feng considered for a moment, then answered, Blade River. Since many powerful creatures already thought he was the Blade River Emperor, he would give himself this username. He didn't care much about the authenticity. Luo Feng turned to the second page. It was the map of the world of glory, and Luo Feng heard the voice say, there are two districts in the world of glory. One is the open-air square, and the other is the world of battle. You can connect to the world of glory within the secret region of the Ancestral God School. Wow, it's pretty small, Luo Feng whispered. And there are very few functions, he complained inwardly. There was no comparison. If the virtual universe was a skyscraper, the world of glory was a cottage. It only covered the ancestral god's secret region, and there were only two districts, the open-air square and the world of battle. There weren't even accommodations or shopping malls. The human virtual universe was much more bustling. There were countless levels of space and a wide range of functions. Everything that you could or could to do was provided in the virtual universe. Luo Feng skimmed through the options. Leaderboard of the world of glory. Glory points. Points for inheritances. Now, Luo Feng understood. The only way to have extra inheritances was to come to the world of glory. There were 7 rankings on the leaderboard, starting with first-level ranking and descending to second-level ranking, and so on and so forth. Different heirs appeared on different rankings according to their wins and losses. As for Luo Feng, he was at the back of third-level ranking. 0 wins and 0 losses. Of course, there were creatures with records far worse than his. It's simple, indeed, Luo Feng thought. The ancestral god school only wants to offer a place for us to gather by setting up such a simple virtual universe. Open-air square? Luo Feng looked away. The square was actually an open-air bar where lots of wine was being served and meals were taking place. They could be enjoyed by all heirs at any time. There were chairs assembled within the square, and Luo Feng could see tens of thousands of heirs with a glance. And with a glance, they spotted him, as well. Look, it's Blade River Emperor. It's Blade River Emperor. The heirs all noticed Luo Feng, but they chose to stand by. He realized that the heirs were in hundreds of or even thousands of separate groups. He could sense the hostility among the groups. There are always conflicts whenever there are powerful ones, thought Luo Feng. Especially in a place like this where all the talents in the universe live. Blade River Emperor. A creature flew toward Luo Feng like a bolt of lightning. Luo Feng looked at him and realized it was human. He smiled. Cha Man Emperor. Cha Man Emperor was a low-key emperor of the human race. Although he wasn't as mighty as the emperors who could rival universe knights, he was very close. Cha Man Emperor was incredibly talented and had risen to a high level very quickly. For this, he was highly valued and specially trained by the human race. Unfortunately, he was stuck at the final step to becoming a universe knight, which had robbed him of his pride and made him meek. Many talented ones suffered similar fates. There were, after all, only so many who were qualified to become universe knights, such as Seven-Blade Emperor. Who could say for sure whether he would become a universe knight? Let's go, the Hong Alliance is here. Cha Man Emperor took Luo Feng and walked away. According to the command I received from our race, I should call you Blade River Emperor directly when you're suspected. Will it affect you? They will be just as suspicious if you don't call me that. It'll happen either way. Don't worry about it. Luo Feng smiled. Cha Man Emperor nodded and continued. These heirs are divided mainly by the alliances they belong to. The enemy alliances don't get together. We who belong to the Hong Alliance will stick together. There seem to be many groups, Luo Feng said. He could see the divisions between them. Most were in groups of hundreds or thousands of members. There were few groups with more than 10,000 members, and they represented the superpowers of the universe. Luo Feng pointed to one particularly large group where hundreds of thousands of powerful ones sat together. Who are they? There are so many members. That's the Snow Territory Alliance, Cha Man Emperor said. Although they are inferior to our Hong Alliance in terms of power, it is the alliance that has the most members. There are lots of Undying and even Emperor-level Undying within that alliance, though most are from weak, ordinary clans, with a few exceptions. You should know that the Ancestral God School doesn't care about the number of members a clan has when it distributes tokens. After a short while, they arrived at a corner of the square. That's our place, Cha Man Emperor said with a smile. Luo Feng looked to the front and saw only around 1,000 powerful ones. They were all very common clans of the Hong Alliance. This is it? Luo Feng whispered. We're the elites, Cha Man Emperor said, still smiling. That's right, we're the elites, agreed Luo Feng. No point comparing the quantity, I suppose. Luo Feng smiled back and followed Cha Man Emperor to the heirs of the Hong Alliance. Within the territory of the demon race, balls of flames as big as stars were distributed everywhere and enveloped the valley. At the center was the towering Sky Wolf Palace. An enormous, snake-shaped creature with 2 heads groveled on the palace floor, but its voice was echoing within the entire space. Master of Skywolf, the heirs of our demon race within the ancestral god school gave us a message. A human suspected to be Blade River Emperor went to the land of treasures. It's highly likely that is Blade River Emperor. The Master of Skywolf was in charge of the reward for hunting down Blade River Emperor. A silhouette engulfed in fire walked slowly out of the Skywolf Palace. Give me the details, the Master of Skywolf said, looking down at the snake-shaped creature. I bring news, said the snake. I'm here to tell you first that important information is about to be sent to you. Go, the Master of Skywolf said. Yes. The snake flew out of the Skywolf Palace and teleported itself. The Master of Skywolf stood in front of the palace and received the information from the virtual universe. Although the telecommunication system owned by the demon race couldn't compare to the human race or automaton race, they had built a basic system by plundering parts from others. Besides, creatures who were masters of the universe could easily obtain information from hundreds of millions of light-years away without any need to access the virtual universe. Among the stars appeared a three-dimensional virtual projection. The Master of Skywolf looked at it from afar, watching the confrontation between Luofeng and Beishan Knight in the Land of Valuables. It's him, the Master of Skywolf murmured. I can tell by his eyes. He had seen Luofeng before. The speculations made by other super beings of the other races were questionable, but the Master of Skywolf was powerful enough to distinguish between the real thing and a forgery. The eyes were the window to the soul, and he could recognize that meddlesome human by those eyes. I can't believe he went to the ancestral god school. It was a smart move, indeed, but I'm a bit surprised the humans are unable to protect him within their race. I'm sure he'll stay in the ancestral god school for a long time. The worm race and the automaton race might also receive the information. They might even act first. It's going to cost them dearly if they want to kill Blade River Emperor within the domain of the ancestral god school. I'll let them do it first. The eyes of the Master of Skywolf gleamed as he pondered how to dispose of this individual, this man who possessed the potential to be a great being of the human race. The Master of Skywolf had seen Luofeng before, and he was sure that the talented human could become an Undying. However, it would be exceedingly difficult for him to become a Universe Knight. It was difficult for anyone to become a Universe Knight. Like True Yang Emperor, who had been stuck at the last step for an age. Or like Cha Man Emperor, who was every bit as talented as Seven Blade Emperor but couldn't break through even after hundreds of thousands of years of training. And like Zhu Chong Emperor, who was a special life form in the universe, even more powerful than some bona fide Universe Knights. However, he still couldn't become a Universe Knight, even with all the resources provided by the ancestral god school. Mountain-sitting Guest had once said that rare resources could help the Undying make their breakthroughs and become Universe Knights, but it was a huge price, and success was not guaranteed. Blade River Emperor was indeed impressive. However, he was still outshone by a special life form like Zhu Chong Emperor. He must have lots of secrets, thought the Master of Skywolf. That's how he killed an Emperor limit as a mere sector lord. If he becomes a Universe Knight, especially a high-level one, he will rival a Universe Master. Perhaps he will become another Heaven Erosion Palace leader, or maybe even stronger than that. He will pose a greater threat than a Universe Master by then. To the enemy races, the idea of Universe Knights wielding the power of Universe Masters was, indeed, more intimidating than actual Universe Masters, as no one could resurrect a dead Universe Master. However, although Universe Masters like the Chaos City leader couldn't bring back a Universe Knight as powerful as the Heaven Erosion Palace leader, the strongest ones of the universe, such as the founder of the huge Axe Dojo, could certainly do that. A supreme being that could be resurrected at any time. What a threat that was! There's a huge hurdle between an Undying and a Universe Knight, said the Master of Skywolf. If Blade River Emperor can't cross the hurdle but the human race still tries to help him regardless, they might pay a huge price without any reward. Although the Master of Skywolf was worried about the surge in power of Blade River Emperor, this human was far from a real threat at the moment. I'll wait and see if the worm race or the automaton race make the first move. The worm race and the automaton race received the message on the same day. For of the peak races in the universe, humans, automatons, worms, and demons had territories close to each other, and the wars between them could be bitter and devastating. They would surely try to eliminate any peerless talent as soon as possible. The automaton race reasoned, the demons and worms might get to him first. There's no need to rush. Meanwhile, the worms debated, the humans must have a plan to protect Blade River Emperor now, and we need to arrange any attack carefully. The three peak races were the only ones concerned. The other powers that could rival the Hong Alliance were all on the fence. As for the weaker ones like the Nine Territory Alliance, they would love to see the four peak races destroy each other in battle. On the open-air square in the world of glory, Luo Feng quickly became friends with many powerful beings. The Hong Alliance really doesn't have many heirs. Luo Feng couldn't help saying. Indeed, Li Emperor said with a nod, sitting beside Luo Feng. But this is only a quarter of us. We humans are rare only because the ancestral god school distributed their tokens indiscriminately among the races, rendering us at a disadvantage. Besides, the Hong Alliance wants only elites, and those within the alliance are either powerful races or subsidiaries thereof. Luo Feng nodded. There were several powerful barbarian races within the Hong Alliance, and they all consisted of universe masters. We don't have lots of members in the Hong Alliance, and that's why we don't get lots of heirs, Li Emperor said. The beast god inheritance is only one of the many ways to become stronger, said Cha Man Emperor, shaking his head. Humans are relatively weak within the ancestral god school. Li Emperor and Cha Man Emperor were both humans, and the halos on their heads were gone. What's most frustrating is that it's so difficult for us to earn glory points, Cha Man Emperor said, shaking his head a second time. We humans have the virtual universe, which is ended by countless other races, especially in the world of glory. Lots of barbarians won't even challenge us or accept our challenges. You can't earn glory points without enough battles. Thus, we don't have the opportunities to receive the inheritance. Li Emperor brought his wine glass up and said, we can only challenge others in the Hong Alliance. Few within our alliance share the same level of inheritance, however, and we all know each other pretty well, so we don't challenge those who can beat us. Challenge? Luo Feng said, tilting his head. He had read the rules in the Black Book and knew that the world of glory was divided between the open-air square and the world of battle. Glory points could be gained and lost in the world of battle. Each newcomer would have 3 glory points, and the smallest price to pay for each battle was 1. An heir had to send a letter of invitation to battle first, then wait until for an affirmative response before he could engage in a fight. 100 glory points could be exchanged for 1 inheritance. Can you imagine how difficult it is to get 100 glory points without any challenges? Cha Man Emperor said with a sigh. Occasionally, there are some who challenge us, but they are ultra-powerful. If we answer to that, either we're at least at the same level, or we're just being stupid. It is so difficult to earn glory points, Li Emperor agreed. Thousand Rain Emperor stood to the side, smiling as he said, compared to you humans, I'm lucky as I'm not so isolated. However, you can earn glory points only if you win a battle. Otherwise, you'll lose points. If you lose all your glory points, you have to wait for an era to get a new one. If you lose all of them 3 times, you have to wait for 10,000 eras for another chance. And if you lose them 6 times, you have to wait for 100,000 eras. So on and so forth. That's why everyone is very careful and will only make a large bet if they are certain they can win. Normally, the wager is only for 1 glory point per battle, but larger bets will happen under only extreme cases. Thousand Rain Emperor shook his head and added, although there are innumerable heirs here, it's almost impossible to get an extra inheritance through glory points. Don't gloat, Cha Man Emperor said. At least you get challenged. Not very often, Thousand Rain Emperor replied. And most of them are stronger than me. Luo Feng quietly considered how difficult it was to exchange an inheritance with glory points. Just then, many heirs of the other races began to notice Blade River Emperor's arrival, or, more specifically, the arrival of Blade River. On the Black Book of the World of Glory, an arrival time and name, along with a note, always appeared when a newcomer arrived. Someone glanced at their book, saying, it says here, Blade River is here. And it reads human for the note. It must be Blade River Emperor. Then that means he is here now. The barbarians all looked from afar. It's impossible for a sector law to kill an emperor limit only with the law comprehension, someone said. He must possess invaluable treasures. However, in the world of glory, everyone has the same intensity of godly bodies. Even Zhuchong Emperor has the same constitution as we do. And we must use the weapons provided by the world of glory. Even Zhuchong Emperor was defeated many times in the world of glory. This Blade River Emperor? A 3rd level heir? I'll invite him to a battle, someone spoke up. I'll do that too, another cried out. It'll be interesting to bully and humiliate this legendary Blade River Emperor. I'll crush Blade River Emperor. I'll make him miserable. All at once, a plethora of talented heirs from every race were sending battle invitations to Blade River. As Luo Feng continued chatting with Thousand Rain Emperor, Cha Man Emperor, and Li Emperor, he felt the trembling of his floating black book. "Hold on," he said as he opened it up. His eyes went wide. The number 10,232 filled the blank beside the invitations to battle line in the book, and the number was soaring. Now 12,000. 13,000, 14,000. Now 20,000. And still rising rapidly. Luo Feng was just listening to Cha Man Emperor and Li Emperor complain about how difficult it was to acquire challenges. However, in the blink of an eye, the invitations to battle sent to him had already skyrocketed. After only a few seconds, it reached 30,000. This is unbelievable," said Luo Feng, his heart pounding at sight of the number. "I hadn't received any invitations to battle last time I checked the black book. It happened so fast." Luo Feng had entered the world of glory just now and had given himself the name, Blade River. Before that, even if other races had wanted to challenge Blade River Emperor, they couldn't find the target. But now, Luo Feng appeared in the open-air square, and almost all the heirs knew about it. As expected, many of them wanted to battle the legendary Blade River Emperor. Besides, Luo Feng was one of the third-level beast god heirs, and out of all 7 levels, the third level contained the most heirs. More than 100 million heirs were at the third level. There were only a few universe knights, whereas hundreds of millions of the heirs were emperors. Almost all of the talented fighters who went through hundreds of millions of years of training reached the third level. A considerable number of them had completed the third level and started to comprehend the fourth level, like True Yang Emperor. Accordingly, the largest portion of the heirs belonged to the third level, followed by the fourth level. The rest, in descending order, were the second level, the fifth level, the sixth level, the seventh level, and the first level. The Heaven Erosion Palace leader represented the seventh level heirs, who were almost as powerful as beast gods. As strong as they were, only a few dozen reached the seventh level. As for the first level, even the newcomers had some foundation, so there was no one at the first level. Thousand Rain Emperor, Li Emperor, and Cha Man Emperor all noticed that Luo Feng was staring at the black book. "What are you looking at?" Thousand Rain Emperor shouted. Luo Feng looked at his 3 friends from the Hong Alliance, knowing he didn't need to hide the news that so many other races were challenging him. He whispered, "I've received tons of invitations to battle." "Tons of invitations," they said. All of them were dazed. "How many have you received?" asked Li Emperor. 100? Realizing something was wrong, he shook his head. "Blade River, you're too famous. You can kill a limit emperor as a sector lord. The heirs here are from hundreds of millions of races throughout the universe. They won't rest until they fight you in a battle, and many of them want to grasp this opportunity to crush you." I bet you can receive lots of invitations. Perhaps thousands." Both Cha Man Emperor and Thousand Rain Emperor looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng blocked the space around them to ensure that only they could hear him as he murmured, "More than 50,000 already." 50,000? Li Emperor said, opening his eyes wide. 50,000. Cha Man Emperor sighed. He had spent an eternity on Bohinia Island, and he hadn't even taken part in 1,000 battles. "It's been such a short time," Thousand Rain Emperor said, dazed. Cha Man Emperor was a bit let down. "It seems," he said, "that I've underestimated how much those other races want to fight you. You're just too famous, and you're only a sector lord. Lots of the treasures and true treasures were absent in the world of glory. You'll be at a disadvantage when you're fighting them. Not only do they want to fight you, they want to crush you. They think they are superior to you." Luo Feng glanced at the black book. He had already received more than 60,000 invitations. There were, indeed, lots of great beings from other races who wanted to fight him. "Blade River Emperor, you're one of the third-level heirs," Thousand Rain Emperor said. Third-level heirs and fourth-level heirs make up more than 99% of all the heirs here. And there are more than 90 million third-level heirs. You'll receive 900,000 invitations to battle even if only 1% of them challenge you." Luo Feng nodded his head. "You need to be careful," Thousand Rain Emperor continued. "Don't accept invitations without consideration. All the heirs use the same godly bodies during the battles in the world of glory, and they are all 100,000 times stronger than the body of a sector lord. You can choose your own look and body type, but your constitution is the same. And you have to choose from weapons within the world of glory, which are all ordinary weapons. The playing field is kept even. All the treasures you obtained outside and all the special skills you happen to have will disappear. When you're in battle, you can only use fusion laws. All other laws are useless in the world of glory. Only fusion laws can generate power. Luo Feng nodded, listening carefully. For example, Thousand Rain Emperor continued, Chuchong Emperor is a special organism, unique in the universe. But in the world of glory, he doesn't have the incredible godly body, the extraordinary techniques, or the true treasures. Thus, he becomes ordinary. He's only at the upper middle tier of the third level heirs, and he will drop to one of the lower middle ones when he becomes a fourth level heir. Yes, Cha Man Emperor said with a frown. Besides, Sector Lord's mind powers can't compare to that of an undying fighter. You'll be at a disadvantage. Blade River Emperor, Li Emperor said, the powerful fighters are all peerless in their races. Quite a few have come up with their own pinnacle techniques, and several of them even came up with ultimate techniques. As for law comprehension, there are some at the third level that almost complete it. When it comes to body amplification, all of them have their own techniques, and their willpower is top tier. Luo Feng's heart skipped a beat. Ultimate techniques? The Primal Chaos City leader praised him after he created his own pinnacle techniques. In a place like Bohinia Island, where hundreds of millions of peerless talented fighters lived, it was unsurprising that lots of them had created their own pinnacle techniques. However, Luo Feng was amazed that several had created ultimate techniques even though they had only completed the first few moves. The Ancestral God School gathers talented fighters from all the races in the universe, thought Luo Feng. They have various talents and various life forms. Some have incredible godly bodies, and some of them have extraordinary techniques. It's conceivable that a few of them could come up with ultimate techniques. You have to think twice before you accept challenges, as a commitment is binding, Cha Man Emperor said. They'll only be nullified after you lose all your glory points, so you need to be careful, Luo Feng said, nodding. Suddenly, several voices arose from afar. Blade River Emperor, shouted a voice. I, Taijing Emperor of the Demon Race, challenge you. Do you dare to accept it? Blade River Emperor, you can name your bet, another voice cried out. But apparently, you only have 3 glory points, so I'll bet you 3 glory points. Do you have the guts to do so? I highly doubt that Blade River Emperor is that powerful, another jeered. Perhaps he got famous because he was lucky. More voices flooded the area. All spoke in human languages. Some were high and some were low. Some were squeaky, some were like thunder, and some were hoarse and echoing. All the other races were provoking him. Yes, provoking him. They were all peerless talents within their own races, especially in the world of battle, where all the special effects were void. How could they possibly admit to the power of a sector lord? Do you think Blade River Emperor will accept the challenges? Asked a lanky powerful one with 9 leaves on its head. He stood with several others, all of whom were green and black with leaves on their heads. Their skin resembled bark. They were of the Fan Ling clan and had no genders. All were descendants of the Fan Ling tree. Maybe he will, at first, another replied. However, he'll realize the powers of the other races after losing once or twice. There are many challenging him this time, and we might not have the chance to fight him. He has only 3 glory points, and he'll lose all of them in no time. He won't be able to fight after losing them all. Luo Feng did, indeed, want to accept the challenges from the talented fighters of other races. However, he was still rational. He knew he shouldn't underestimate them. They were not just some ordinary powerful fighters from the outer domain battlefield. Many of them had created their own pinnacle techniques, not to mention those who had created ultimate techniques. The number's still increasing, said Luo Feng, looking at his black book. It had already hit 100,000. Cha Man Emperor? Yes, Blade River? Cha Man Emperor said, looking at him. I've got an idea, said Luo Feng. You give me the number of the virtual universe. I'll leave the world of glory and enter the virtual universe to then connect you. Let's have a mock fight in the virtual universe. How does that sound? Cha Man Emperor's eyes gleamed. Good. Clever, Li Emperor said with a smile. You'll have a mock fight in the virtual universe first so you can determine how powerful you actually are compared to other third-level heirs. After that, you'll know who to choose to fight. Cha Man Emperor and I are both upper middle tier of the third-level heirs. I'll join, too. You can easily learn how powerful you are, relatively speaking, by fighting us. Count me in, Thousand Rain Emperor said. I'm from the Hong Alliance and have the number of the virtual universe, too. Ha ha. Thank you all, Luo Feng said. Luo Feng had a strong desire to fight after receiving so many challenges. How could he possibly let it go? He didn't know when or if he would receive so many invitation letters again. After being given the number of the virtual universe, Luo Feng's mind left the world of glory and connected to the virtual universe. Inside one of the practice fields in the virtual universe, a range of rocky cordilleras ran along the practice field. Luo Feng stood on one of the mountains while Thousand Rain Emperor, Li Emperor, and Cha Man Emperor stood across from him. Blade River, said Cha Man Emperor. Let's at least make it a good fight. Their battle senses burned brightly, like Seven Blade Emperor and Meng Sui Emperor before, having been silent for a long time. But in terms of power, these fighters were stronger. Who would like to start? Luo Feng asked, looking at the three strong beings in the distance. I am slightly weaker than Cha Man Emperor and Li Emperor, said Thousand Rain Emperor. How about I take the first shot? Blade River Emperor, if you fight them first, you might lose pretty badly. Both Cha Man Emperor and Li Emperor looked at Luo Feng, waiting for him to choose. If you want to fight, bring in the strongest one, Luo Feng said bluntly. Fair enough, said Thousand Rain Emperor. Cha Man Emperor and Li Emperor looked at each other. And then, the world was filled with Cha Man Emperor's eerie voice. Li Emperor and I are basically on the same level, he said. I can fight first. However, Blade River, do not underestimate us just because we are low-keyed. There are only 2 to 3 beast god-level emperors among humans who are stronger than us. Newcomers like Seven Blade Emperor are weaker than us. I surely won't underestimate you, said Luo Feng. He knew very well that among humans, many of the older guys maintained low profiles. Although these guys had probably been stuck in the last step for an eternity, some of them possessed intimidating, tremendous strength. On the contrary, rising newcomers like Seven Blade Emperor and Dream Fire Emperor may have been enjoying great fame, but if they couldn't even break through 100 million eras, they would fade to obscurity in future generations. That was simply the cruel nature of time. In mid-air, Luo Feng and Cha Man Emperor faced each other across a distance. Familiarize yourself with your godly body, said Cha Man Emperor. Let me remind you that we will be fighting in the virtual world. Hence, as soon as the fight begins, we will both burn our godly bodies and fight frantically. Do not be as reluctant to burn your godly body as you are in reality, said Luo Feng, feeling his own virtual godly body. Boom! With vigorous power filling his body, his every cell comprised of unparalleled godly force, Luo Feng could, if he were willing, turn into an inexhaustible godly force in an instant. Even when his godly body was shattered to pieces, he could recover in the blink of an eye. His confidence in his own dominance and absolute control was much stronger than when he had been a sector lord. This was a godly body 100,000 times stronger than that of a sector lord. There are pros and cons, Luo Feng said, acclimating to this godly body. In real life, even with the assistance of the general soul, my spiritual force is only on the low emperor level. Thanks to my willpower, which is more domineering than most of the universe knights, I can ultimately rival pinnacle emperors. But right now, even without the general soul, I have reached the pinnacle emperor realm with virtual godly force. Coupled with my willpower and consciousness, I will naturally grow stronger. During his sector lord period, the primal force had combined with the spiritual force, becoming the strength of a world. During his undying period, they became an undying force. Now, with the virtualized undying godly force, he could strike a soul attack. Previously, in the real world, Luo Feng muttered, my strength of a world was too weak. My soul was nothing compared to the general soul, even after my soul amplification using the techniques that I inherited from Demon Note God General. But now, my virtualized godly force is amplifying completely once again. From the aspects of godly force and amplification, Luo Feng had, indeed, improved a lot. But there was a weakness. The supreme treasure, the star map, was gone. The power of the star map could have helped Luo Feng skip 2 or even 3 levels. Weapon. As he turned his palms over, 600 semi-transparent golden globes filled with mysterious engravings, which were the interpretations of Luo Feng's mightiest techniques, started to float above his hands. These were very common spiritual weapons Luo Feng made through the virtual universe. After all, only common weapons could be used during battles in the world of glory. Have you gotten used to it, said Cha Man Emperor. Luo Feng laughed. Cha Man Emperor, he said, you'll have to exert your greatest effort to avoid a humiliating defeat. With a booming sound, Luo Feng's breath intensified. His every cell started to burn completely, and his strength became 1,000 times stronger in a split second. How long have you been cultivating? Asked Cha Man Emperor. A little friendly advice, don't mess around with us old tough guys. I will defeat you within 3 moves. Abruptly, 2 giant, blade-shaped claws appeared, covering Cha Man Emperor's fists. The 600 golden globes floated as Luo Feng turned his hands over. Spirit Reader, said Cha Man Emperor. He frowned slightly, looking at Luo Feng in confusion. Before heading to the land of inheritance, spirit readers should have been told by the members within their races that they would be at a disadvantage if they were to take the beast god path. Why was Blade River Emperor still a spirit reader? Luo Feng tossed the globes randomly. Through the intricate patterns on the 600 golden globes, the burning virtualized godly force activated the law of merging ultimate sources. Suddenly, an enormous beast god appeared high in the air. Since this move was unleashed by burning godly force, this beast god was more real, so much so that its scaled tail had infinitely formidable power. Cha Man Emperor snorted deeply. Boom! Cha Man Emperor transformed swiftly into a human-shaped beast god with thick shoulders covered in scale armor. Behind him, a giant, semi-visible beast god shadow also emerged. His eyes were fraught with madness. This powerful human being, quite genteel a moment before, had suddenly become insanely barbaric. Cha Man Emperor became a beam of light and pounced at Luo Feng. Thousand Rain Emperor and Li Emperor watched attentively from afar. Blade River Emperor is indeed impressive, said Thousand Rain Emperor, pleasantly surprised. Though he is in a slightly unfavorable position, he has gotten used to Cha Man Emperor's fighting style in no time. They are running neck and neck. Hold on, Li Emperor said in a soft voice. Cha Man Emperor thinks that Blade River Emperor is weak in techniques due to his short cultivation time. That's why Cha Man Emperor didn't use his most powerful secret technique from the start. Look, Blade River Emperor is losing out, isn't he? Humph. Now that their godly bodies are on the same level, it is the comprehension of laws, secret techniques, godly force amplification, experience, etc., that are at stake. Cha Man Emperor is perfect in those aspects. His secret technique is a pinnacle technique, and his godly force amplification is inherited from the demon note god general. Pinnacle techniques were not uncommon. Almost every universe knight could create pinnacle techniques, so those remarkable geniuses who had the potential to become universe knights would certainly put stricter demands on themselves. Particularly in the event that they couldn't break through the endless ages, those geniuses would put greater emphasis on the creation of pinnacle techniques. Under the instruction of good teachers, many talents from peak races had created pinnacle techniques over an extended time. Luo Feng had complimented simply because it had cost him a short time to invent his pinnacle techniques. It is not bad for Blade River Emperor to be on a par with Cha Man Emperor, who is. Li Emperor trailed off, stunned. What? Thousand Rain Emperor was also stupefied. Blade River Emperor. But he couldn't even finish his sentence. To their surprise, Blade River Emperor's energy suddenly burst. Previously, the two opponents had been equally matched. But now, Blade River Emperor's strength seemed to surge, suppressing Cha Man Emperor immediately. In the air. With his gaze burning crazily, Luo Feng maximized his willpower in an instant. You shall lose, he said. Boom! With a rumbling sound that trembled the surrounding space, the scaled tail of the giant beast god pushed through time and space like a steamroller. The thrashing of the scaled tail was terrifyingly fast and ferocious. Bang! Roaring, the human-shaped beast god of Cha Man Emperor resisted the whipping of the scaled tail with his 2 claws. Bang! He was beaten so hard that his godly body deteriorated rapidly. Admit your defeat, demanded Luo Feng. Gaining momentum, Luo Feng attacked Cha Man Emperor repeatedly until the godly body of Cha Man Emperor vanished entirely. Luo Feng had won. Standing in midair, Luo Feng gazed at the dumbfounded Thousand Rain Emperor and Li Emperor in the distance. In astonishment, he muttered to himself, I can't believe that I am pushed to this extent to exert my own pinnacle techniques. Compared to them, I still have the advantage of the beast god conception. While other heirs were arousing their pinnacle techniques using law comprehension, Luo Feng stimulated his by beast god conception. In terms of the comprehension of the combination law, Luo Feng belonged to the intermediate level of the third stage, but his beast god conception had already surpassed the third stage, reaching the threshold of the fourth stage. After all, Luo Feng's current beast god conception was incredibly close to the 21st level of Heavenly Bridge. Therefore, Luo Feng had great advantages with his beast god conception. Besides, Luo Feng's spiritual force amplification was also very strong and couldn't be considered a shortcoming. Still, Luo Feng couldn't help but sigh. At the beginning of the battle, before his willpower broke out completely, he had been at a slight disadvantage. In the end, his willpower, which was more incredible than most universe knights, had burst. If he were just a fighter, the benefits of strong willpower wouldn't have been obvious, but things were different for a spirit reader. Willpower was the commander-in-chief. Consciousness was the general. And spirit force was the soldier. The might of Luo Feng's willpower made his ability to control his spiritual weapon upgrade 2 levels, turning his unfavorable position into complete suppression over Cha Man Emperor. Cha Man Emperor flew over, looking at Luo Feng incredulously. I have lost. Blade River, how did you? I admit defeat, too, said Li Emperor. There's no need to compete. Li Emperor sighed, shaking his head. Blade River, you truly live up to your fame. We are convinced by your treasures as well as your strength. They both felt rather bitter. As low profile as they were quite confident in their strengths, for they ranked on the middle upper level in the land of inheritance, a place with numerous talents. It was obviously very difficult to improve once they had reached certain levels. In the aspects of willpower, consciousness, secret techniques, and godly force amplification, they had nearly achieved perfection. Yet they had still lost. Luo Feng had won in a landslide. It was only through the simultaneous outburst of 2 absolute advantages, my willpower and my beast god conception, that I could overwhelm Cha Man Emperor, Luo Feng thought to himself. On the distant Bohinia Island, the core land of the ancestral god school, the heirs who had sent Luo Feng invitations to fight were discussing this matter in small groups. They soon received their replies. Blade River Emperor is just a sector lord, after all, said one heir. In the virtual world, he must abandon every treasure he owns in the real world and rely on his actual strength to fight. Xuchong Emperor also yielded before, didn't he? It is estimated that hundreds of thousands of challenges to fight have been sent to him, replied another. How many does he dare accept? Ha ha. Well, he has accepted mine. What? He accepted? Lucky you. Perhaps he chooses the weakest ones to battle. Ha ha. But alas! He has also accepted mine. I have also gotten his response. He has agreed to fight. On the open-air square of the world of glory, numerous strong beings of other races were flipping through their black books. Every one of them had received replies accepting their challenges. My challenge has been accepted, they said to one another. So has mine. Blade River Emperor has agreed to battle. Soon, frantic discussions were heard in every corner of the open-air square. The heirs of hundreds of millions of races of the universe were left in great astonishment. How many challenges has Blade River Emperor accepted? Probably tens of thousands. This video will end here.